Let's go to
It's
some
so good.
football. How impressive was it? Now, they didn't win, so we're not like jumping up and down about what the Seahawks accomplished on Sunday, but what they did to that Rams offense and specifically to Matt Stafford, how hard is that to do?
Very, because you've got an incredible play caller and Sean McVay, and you've got what I think is. I know that people would disagree with me, and obviously Mahomes maybe is in a class of by himself, but I think Stafford is as good as any quarterback in football, and so to do that is very impressive. However, this team and the way they've played, and the year that's shaping up in the NFC and in the AFC, with the Chiefs being 5-5, can't be a moral victory year. You know, if you had two teams that were just destined to go win a Super Bowl, and you could look at this and you could say to yourself, man, we're getting better and we can see the future and this and that, that's great. But in a season like we're having this year that seems to be wide open, you cannot have a moral victory. You can't just say, like, that was good for us. And I'm not suggesting, like, I'm not, your opinion or everything aside, I just think that, look, you got to go win these games, and they become really important. And in particular in the division, in order to host playoff games, like, these are vital in a year that's wide open. Guys, there's a lot of teams that could not just go to the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. I was just on with guys in Denver, and we were talking about the same thing. About, like, what are the areas of that team that have to get better in order to win the Super Bowl. I think the same conversation applies here with the Seattle Seahawks. What are the areas of this team that have to improve or become better to win the Super Bowl, and set aside this idea of growth or moral victories, because this is a year in which I think it's wide open.
You ever throw 4 interceptions in a game, Joel?
I don't think 4. Definitely 3, but I don't think 4.
You throw 3, you throw 4, you throw 5 in an Apple Cup, as yours truly did in 1997. The most important thing to, yeah, it was rough. Sent them to the first Rose Bowl in 60. I said 65. It was actually 67 years. 67 years sent the Cougs to the Rose Bowl in 1997. Yeah, 6-7. What do you tell yourself? What do you tell Sam Darnold after a 4-interception game?
I think the hard part for Sam is that this is, and I've been thinking about our conversation all week, and all year I've been prefacing this great play with, we'll see about when the games, like, ratchet up and when they matter. Because last year he played great until the games got big at the end, and then he struggled. And this was a division matchup, and it was a giant game. And he went back to the guy who's sitting on the bench against as a Jet, saying, I see ghosts. And that's a trend that is alarming, you know, and it was always in the back of some of our minds as he's playing this great football and efficient football, is like, okay, what happens when it's like, this is a matchup? This is where playoff implications lie. This is where Super Bowl implications lie. How does he play in those moments? And so I would be very concerned. And again, I was trying to figure out a way to be more positive about it and with you guys today, but there's not a lot of positives because of the history. Like, if this was an anomaly, I would say, listen, this is not him, guys. You know, don't worry. He's going to move forward and be better because of this. But this is the trend. This is the concern. This was always the concern, even during the quality pockets of play. And so that's, man, like, I don't know how you get over that, Brock.
Well, DJ said to us,
you would
yesterday,
say, like, hey, memory like a goldfish. You know,
right.
You say all these coach speak things, but it's like, this is who he is in these games, and this was always the concern. What did DJ say? He's smarter than I am.
Yeah, DJ just said, you know, because Tom Moore used a line that has always stuck with me, that I've shared on many of my broadcasts, of playing smart, not scared. Play smart, not scared. DJ talked about, you know, his favorite term is selectively aggressive. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? Matthew Stafford in that game, it was the lowest output as a Ram. I mean, he was like 130 yards. He missed a lot of throws, but he didn't turn it over, right? He was aggressive.
Well,
when
you play the
needed to
game
be.
in front of you.
Okay.
You're not playing the stat sheet, right? You play the game in front of you.
What
Don't
was
you
your
think
favorite?
staff
Did you
would-
have a favorite axiom? Did you have a favorite swing thought? Did you have a favorite thing when, and as you evaluate quarterbacks and analyze them over the course of games and everything else, is there something that sticks in your craw?
We used to say, don't go broke taking a profit.
Mm-hmm.
And, play the play in front of you. Greatness is realized through the attention to details. Just utilize the offense. Let the offense be a part of you. All of these things that we would talk about. And when you get outside of that, you try to do too much, or you try to force yourself onto the offense. You see, like, to me, the offense is like a book, and the book reveals itself, and you just have to be ready to execute what the offense is asking you to execute at that moment. As soon as you try to do things and force yourself onto the story, or you try to project what you're feeling, what you're seeing, then it goes haywire. So, I like that one, Joel. About like,
okay. What's interesting is Titus was actually, I think, doing homework early in the game. So it was just me and a friend of mine who's a football fan and goes to Seahawks games, but never played the game and anything else, but a really bright guy, just a fun, just cool dude. And we're watching it, and it was the first series of the game. After the goal line stand, they get the ball back. It's first down. I think he had a completion, and that first interception, and I don't know if you saw it explicitly, but I'll explain it. He has Cooper on like a, 15-yard, 12-yard option route, and he's getting tugged, and he's clearly covered. And then the only other place to go with the ball is a check down in front of you to Ken Walker. But instead, like, he retreats and he backpedals, and he literally like throws almost blind late over the middle to Cooper. And I'm like, I don't know how that. I was explaining to my friend, like, I just don't know how that happens with 18 years of football experience. Like, how that one. Like, I understand the second one. I understand the deep out that the line stunt's not picked up. I understand the seam route that you hit your fifth step and you're trying to throw with anticipation. I frankly even understand a jump check down, late in the game. But that one on the first series is like, that is borderline inexplicable for the first series of this game.
And it's backbreaking too, because it changes the whole dynamic of the game, the way the game is going to be played moving forward. It's one of those things that it is only explained through panic. That's it. You cannot explain it any other way other than he panicked. There's absolutely no reason to throw that football. The offense doesn't suggest you're throwing it there. It's not even that like the defense is making it difficult on you or tricks you or like, oh, I see what you saw or thought, or like, no. And we used to say all the time, the only place the football cannot go late is over the middle, period. Doesn't matter. And so to see that throw is alarming, because again, you see the panic, and Sam has played within himself, and he has played great football, and he's been on time and on target. And there's this moment, there's two things that happen when a quarterback panic. One of two things. They either do this little like squat, and you see this a lot at the college level. Their eyes go down and they kind of flinch downwards, and they spread out and they squat. And it's kind of like, should I run? It's almost like that move before you have to take off. You have to get into an athletic position. And there's like a little like panic squat.
Like a fight or flight.
They retreat. Yeah, it's a fight or flight mentality. Or they retreat. And you see this a lot at the college level. When a quarterback's first instinct is to retreat versus step up, there is a problem. And something is going wrong in the mind of the quarterback with how he's seeing it and what he's feeling in the pocket.
So that's fast. That whole conversation is very interesting. You got me thinking two ways about Sam Darnold. One, the counter to some of that fear is he got it back at the end. He brought them back. He had a really good drive after the fourth pick to score the touchdown. And if it's not for what might be the most clutch punt I've ever seen, and I can't believe those words just came out of my mouth, they probably win that game if he doesn't have to take over at the 1 yard line. And we sit here and say, all right, he blew it and he played really poorly, but he found a way to get over it and he stayed in it mentally and a neutral mentality and long term, let's see if this is just a blip on the radar. So that would be the positive side of it. The other one, though, Joel, and I'll throw both at you at once, is he's now 1-3 in these late game situations where you need your quarterback. You need to go down and score. And I know it was hard doing it at the 1 yard line, but you had a timeout. You had 2 minutes to play. Like, you got to go down and kick a field goal. Like, that's unfortunately the gig, and that's 1-3 now in those scenarios this year. That to me is more alarming than 4 picks.
I get frustrated in sports in general. Seeing guys that are really good when it doesn't matter. And I've always thought this, always. I wish that we did a better job of measuring what a quarterback does on base down and base football versus situational football. Like, what are you, and unfortunately, like, for instance, I would love to see a guy's numbers, true numbers, when he's down a possession and on third down, off schedule, inside of 2 minutes. Like, that's a different play than, base down at 2nd and 2 on the -40 with 8 minutes to go in the second quarter and you're up 7. It's like, well, that's just and yet we rate those 2 passing attempts the same. Well, they're different. They're different. Mm-hmm. It's like hitting in a game down 6-2 with nobody on in the 8th, and you hit and you go tank, versus there's 2 runners on at 2nd and 3rd, like the Blue Jays had, countless times in Game 6 and 7 of the World Series, and you can't get them in. So, like, well, which is a more impactful at bat? So I'm talking about situational numbers, situational football, and I believe that a quarterback's main job is not base football. That's just a prerequisite. Your main job is, what do you do when the situation is either against you or it's unique and or it's important? Because those snaps and those attempts are much, much different. And unfortunately for Sam, he has not played well in those situations. And he's accumulated a lot of what I would call like base down stuff. We used to talk about that in Denver all the time. There was a guy, Troy Tulowitzki, the shortstop, and everyone's like, oh, Tulo's so good. Tulo's so good. And it's like, Tulo never had a clutch hit in his life. It's like he would come up and I would just sit there and be like, ain't happening.
But what about when the whole crowd would go, dun, 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 too low.
Too low. It's like, you better do that when you're down 6-2 and there's no one on, because that boy is showing up at that point.
Wow.
Okay, so what would be then your counsel to Janocko, the QB coach, to Clint Kubiak, and most importantly to Sam? What would be your counsel to try to coach out some of that, what you call panic, some of that situational struggle? What would you do to continue to develop and coach it out of them?
I think the only way forward is backwards. You get simpler. And I'm not talking about schematically more simple. You get more simple in terms of how you attack mentally that area of the game. And you pour yourself into the details and your job, and you just start to make it very black and white. I think panic creeps in when you've got gray area. And offensive football is taught 2 different ways. And Brock, you know this. Like, there are some offensive coordinators and quarterback coaches that live in the gray area, and they allow their quarterback to go out there and make a lot of decisions. And there's not a lot of black and white, like, hey, if you see this, let's do this. If you see that, then let's do it a different way. And generally speaking, when a guy is struggling with panic in those moments, I think you need to make it more black and white and less gray. So giving Sam more defined answers with what he's going to do and how he's going to do it in those areas of the game, I think would be beneficial. But again, 2 different trains of thought. There are other guys that would tell you, no, he's thinking too much. You got to let him just go be freewheeling and give him more gray area. I vehemently disagree with that. You need to take that thought process away and you need to make it very robotic and regimented so that he can go out there and react and not think. He needs to be out of his own head.
I can't stop talking. And I said it earlier in this week. I said it on Monday. I said, we are not going to sell what JSN is doing short, just like we did not with Cal Raleigh. When Cal was doing things never done before in the sport, and that catcher in particular, we are not going to just be like, oh, yeah, this is nice. Joel, what JSN is doing, he has a chance. I mean, he is more than on pace through, 65% of the season, 60% of the season to get to 2,000 yards receiving. I mean, the dude
listen,
bro.
He's turning into the best receiver in football.
Yes. Like, I know Jamar Chase is more dynamic, right? I know Malik Neighbors is faster. I know that, there's...
Yeah, but I want someone that's reliable, man. And I'm not saying those guys aren't reliable, but, like, this dude is open. This guy creates space. He is reliable with his hands. He's terrific with the ball after the catch. He's smart. He understands leverage. He is the greatest asset that Sam Darnold has, period. And they should lean even more into him. He's phenomenal and a great kid. I loved covering him. I remember the thoughts. Everyone's like, well, is he straight line fast enough? And it's like, the draft sucks. I hate the draft. I hate covering the draft because you have to talk with all the draft people. And the draft people are just so dumb. They're, and not DJ.
Obviously,
I love DJ.
not DJ.
He's smart. Obviously. Well, DJ and I have like football conversations where you get these guys who are like, I wonder what he'll time in the 40. I don't care. Watch him play the game. Like, what are we doing? And JSN was one of those. I just remember that other, well, his hamstring's going to hurt his 40 time. Shut up. Ugh. Basement dweller.
A tremendous couple of rants today. So you were taking BP at Wrigley, right? And are you behind the plate when you do that, or in front of because they don't generally let you do it at the plate? You were behind the plate, right?
The plate was covered by grass.
Okay.
So like you couldn't actually see the plate. But based on the foul poles, we were like at least I would say 3 to 5 yards behind home plate.
So that ball you hit, the backstop. You think that gets out if you're at the plate?
I mean, when I hit it, I was like, oh yeah, that's good. Now I knew it was to the deeper part of the park,
right?
But I'm like, hey, I got that. I'm just waiting for it to fall in the basket, and then I'm gonna jog around and embellish it because that's what I do.
Right.
And it hits the base of the wall. Oh. I'm just mortified and devastated, and I've been devastated ever since. And I can't stop thinking about it, and I can't stop being asked about it. And I've never felt worse about myself in my life.
Well, that's a bit of a humble brag. Like, oh, I only hit the fence. I mean, like, most people are pretty happy to get the ball into the outfield. Oh, I only hit the fence.
You achieve what you emphasize, Salk. I fully expected myself to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Okay. I don't know how else to say it. My wife said the same thing as you. Apparently she has low expectations of me like you do. She was like, but you did so well. And I'm like, yeah, but it didn't go out. Like, what are we even talking about? You take BP at Wrigley Field for one reason. It's not to be like, oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I hit a couple of nice line drives.
You kind of sound like a lot of the 13-year-old girls I see on Avery's volleyball team. We're like, oh, I'm just playing so bad today. I'm playing so bad today. And it's like, yeah, no, you're not. Like, stop looking for sympathy.
Okay, time out. What was the objective? I
don't know. It wasn't there. What was it? Was just to have fun?
To hit a ball out of the park. Like, I don't. What else do you take BP for?
Well, then take it from the plate.
I didn't set it up the BP, Salk. I wasn't going to call in the Cubs brass and say, hey, your plate is wrong.
That would have been quite the move. That's a power move,
I was bitterly disappointed.
All right.
I really was.
I'm sorry.
It was super fun, though.
I was more bummed.
Good time. And just go ahead.
I was more bummed that I didn't see Gus swing. I saw Urban and Leinart and Portnoy and Mark and everybody else. Where was Gus? Gus didn't want to partake?
To be honest, I don't know. And even the next day, he was like, wait. He was like, you guys took BP? And we were like, yeah.
Have you done that at any other parks? Brock and I have done it at T-Mobile. I've gotten a chance to play at both Fenway and Yankee Stadium, which was awesome. I mean, just amazing.
That's a soft flex.
Have you done this at other parks? Because I think Wrigley would be as cool as it would get.
Wrigley was very cool. I've taken BP at Petco. and then Coors Field in Colorado. I played a few games there in high school and took BP and did like, it wasn't like a hit and giggle like you've done. Like I was actually there for a legitimate professional tryout.
Oh, this is good.
I don't think I was really trying to comp that, but I appreciate it. I know that I was not a minor league baseball player like you were. I loved it. Thank you very much. That was a powerhouse 25 minutes.
I appreciate you, Salk.
I appreciate you as well. As we get
I
close
felt
to
like you were
Thanksgiving.
really good. As opposed to Darnold, this was an important interview, and I thought you nailed it.
Thank you. That's nice. I feel pretty good about it.
You bet.
Yeah, I didn't back up. I didn't fight or flight. I just stood my ground.
No.
Stepped up
and
in
knew
the
where to
pocket.
go. Stepped
You
up in
did.
the
You
pocket.
didn't even flinch. You didn't do the weird like squat flinch. That was solid.
Bye, Joel.